Hey gang, welcome to our next session. It's session 6, it's sales and operation planning and master scheduling. So the overall purpose of this section right here is to deep dive and get into master scheduling. What is master scheduling? Well, master scheduling is what we call a build plan. If you've ever heard, it's the plan. It's what your person who's actually building the product knows what to build. A scheduler, what product are you building? What exact quantity? What part number? It's down to that level now. We're talking about the good stuff here. It's a build plan. It's called the MPS. It's the master schedule. Those all terms are used synonymously in Apex. So that is a master schedule. So now we talked about this is section 6, and section 7 is again a little bit more of session 6. It's managing the master schedule, and the last section is case study. So we are almost there. This is really the last topic we're going to talk about in this course: master scheduling, build plan. And that's where we're at. So anyway, if you have your textbooks open, if you want to follow along with me, it'll make it a little bit easier. We're talking about the first major slide is from sales and operation plan to master scheduling. It's my slide 6.6. And so in sales and operation plan, we talked about monthly plans. We talked about family level planning. We talked about big stuff, resources, machinery, big type of stuff. Sales plan, a production plan, and an inventory plan, a monthly plan. It's how most people measure their monthly performance. So at that level, it's a monthly review cycle, and it's at the family level. Now we're going to take that sales and operations plan, and we're going to make a master production schedule, master schedule. We're going to take the sales and operations plan and get down to the detail level, the part level. We're going to have a weekly review cycle, and we're going to have a specific parts we're building to. So just an example from like our company, Bullard. You've got a family of hard hats. They're taking that and we're making a yellow hard hat that has stripes on it and decals. So we're taking it down to that part level. So objectives of master scheduling, the next slide. Create a build schedule, have end items, quantities, and due dates. Show when products will be available. So we have a date, right, when you're going to make this stuff. And it lets customer service promise when something's going to be available. And it provides the basis for trade-offs if orders cannot be met. You can't meet an order on time, you can look at the schedule. Maybe you can move something else to place that order in place of another order. So it gives you a chance to do trade-offs. So okay, and it coordinates with your sales and operations plan. So you got a sales and operation plan has to agree with your master schedule. So master scheduling process relationship. I'm looking at that flow chart. The flow chart just shows master scheduling in the middle. What's an input of master scheduling? Well, it's demand management. What is the capacity planning tool used with master scheduling? It's rough cut capacity planning. So at this level, we're more into machinery needs for a weekly basis, labor needs for a weekly basis. So we're not down to the hourly level yet, but we're at at that level, a weekly level we're planning. And the output is the MPS, right? It's either a build or it could be a buy schedule too. And that's it. Now we're going to look at the master scheduling grid. I'm looking at 6.9. Just take a look at this grid for a second. Don't rush through it. I'll look at every line and hopefully you understand what each line means. Now a lot size of 10 means you have to order in 10 quantities, right? So you can't order 11, you can't order 8, you can order 10, 20, 30, 40 in multiples of 10. And in this example you have a safety stock of 0, right? So you don't need to have any safety stock on hand. You will if you run down to 0, then you place an order. So now you got a forecast and you got an order, right? So how do you know what to buy to a forecast or order? Well, it matters if you're inside the demand planning fence or outside. If you're within the demand planning fence, then your schedule is firm and you only use orders. If you're outside that fence time level, then you're going to use your forecast or orders, not greater of either one. So in this example, we don't have a demand planning fence, but we're going to have one later and we'll go through that. Now your projected available balance is just another name for inventory. That's your running inventory balance. Your available to promise, we'll calculate that later. That shows you how many you have. That if a customer calls you can say, hey, we can allocate this many units to you. So, and a master production schedule is your build plan. So that's that. Now slide 6.10, we're talking about these grids are rolling schedules, right? They change just like on a daily basis. You get orders, You make product, you don't make what's planned sometimes. Your orders are way out from what you planned. You got scrap and that kind of stuff. So it's rolling, it's liquid, it's moving. And there's a consistent periodic review and update cycle, right? Your master schedule may be a weekly schedule. In the old days, it was a monthly schedule sometimes, and it can be a daily schedule. So, and timely transaction processing, right? Your inventory levels should be instantaneous, hopefully. If it's not, maybe you have like a nightly batch job or your inventory changes at night, so you can pick up exactly what happened during the day. So that's the first little section. We're going to talk about marketplace and customer expectations. And in this slide, we're going to talk about the different environments which you guys got to know. Engineering to order and make to order, assemble to order, and make to stock. So again, when you think of engineer to order, you think of a total custom job, or a make to order, right? Make to order is not custom, but it's something you wait till you get the order, then you go out and buy the parts and you get. So stuff like Boeing airplanes, engineer to order, or custom projects. You make just like a one-time deal. Assemble to order is kind of what we at Buller do and what you guys do. You get all the components on hand, you get an order, then you put stuff together. So that's an assemble to order. And your make to stock is stuff you go out to Kroger's, Walmart. It's on the store shelves. You go out and buy it. It's made to stock. It's based on a forecast, right? So just a few things about each one. You'll see in your chart. Engineering to order is custom. Product variety can be anything, right? Because it's custom, it's broad. You've got very, very low volume and slow lead times and delivery reliability per promise. Maybe it's a custom job, so every job is a different lead time. And assemble to order should be pretty fast. You got all the components on hand, you get the order, you build them, bam, out the door. And make the stock, build on a forecast. You got a very broad you got a very narrow product variety. It's the same stuff over and over again. You know, stuff like Scope mouthwash, toothpaste. Should be a fast delivery, predictable reliability, standard products. And on the next slide, you'll see engineered to orders, low volume batch, and assembled orders might be medium volume. Make to stocks, high volume. So, and your unit of production stated at the MPS. We'll talk about this in just a second, so I don't really want to go over it now. But at the engineered to order, you're going to use the MPS for raw materials, and the FAS, which we'll talk about in a second, for based on your specific orders. And assembled orders similar. MPS is for modules, FAS is for end items, and make to stock, you're using your MPS for your end items. So I'll explain this in the next slide. Scheduling approaches right here, you'll see you've got the first one's a make to stock. In this one, you use your master production schedule. It'll tell you exactly what you need to build, right? So say you're building Crest toothpaste. It'll just tell you this is how many Crest toothpaste gel you need to build, that particular model. That's your master production schedule. Now when you get to assemble to order, your master production schedule is used to schedule components, and then you use a finishing schedule. Once you know exactly you're going to have the components on hand, your finishing schedule will determine your final schedule. So it's your final assembly schedule, FAS, which is the first time we talked about that. So at Dell Computer, you're using the MPS to schedule printers, modules, hard drives, mice maybe not, but your individual items, your components. You're using all this stuff to you're scheduling that through the MPS. Then you get an order in based on your MPS, and then use your final assembly schedule. Is what you're doing when you enter that order on Dell Computer Online. Bam, that's entering an order into your final assembly schedule. So that's that. And make to order. Just use your MPS to do raw materials, but your finishing schedule, your FAS, actually get the order. That is what you use to do your end items and your final assembly right there. So that's that. So continuing on, I'm looking at the slide 616, master scheduling techniques. We're really talking about grids here. You got to do your math. If you know the grids, you've got this session all mastered. If you're good at grids, this is going to be easy for you. If you're not, probably need to get a little bit more work because there's going to be a lot of questions on the test about these grids. So it's a time phase master schedule, forecasting customer orders, your MPSs, your PABs, projected available balance, just means your inventory balance, lot sizing, and your available to promise. All these items are on those grids one by one. So we're going to look at each one of them. So if you look at the slide that says master schedule grid, you'll see you've got a lot size of 10, your safety stock is 0, your forecast is 5, 5, 8, 10, 15, and you've got 5, 3, 2, 0, 0 customer orders. So you'll see your orders haven't come in as forecast yet, but you still have time, right? So maybe they'll be greater, maybe they'll be less. Your PAB is 20. So the question the book asks is, will inventory be available to promise shipment as requested? So you'll see you've got 20 on hand and you've got 8, 10. You've got 10 customer orders, so you're okay on orders, but there's not enough inventory to support the forecast, right? Because you got 10, 18, 28. You got 43 forecast. So that's one question. Can forecasts or customer orders be fulfilled from current projected inventory? We said no, right? Orders can, but forecasts can't. If not, when do we need to schedule completion of end items? So let's take a look at this grid and calculate everything out. Now the book asks 3 questions. What are the total forecasts and MPS quantities for the 5 periods? So you're going to have a total forecast of what? 43. And your master production schedule, you're going to need to have an MPS of 10 in each period. And you just have to go through and calculate one by one, right? So your master production schedule, the last line in there should be 10 for each period. You should go through and calculate that. And since you have a safety stock of 0, when you drop below 0 in your safety stock, that means you need to add an MPS. And the lead time is 0, so you can add an MPS to the same period that you're in. So that's how you do that right there. It says, will inventory increase or decrease over the 5-week period? Well, it's going to increase, right? You're going to produce 50 units of production, your MPSs, and your forecast is 43, right? So you're going to increase 7 units on them. And they want you to complete the PAB calculations periods 2 through 5. So the PAB, I'll just read you the answer so you can do it at home, is you start out with 20. In period 1, it's 25. Period 2, 30. Period 3, 32. Period 4, 32. Period 5, 27. So you got to go through, calculate it, make sure you know how we got the answers, calculate them out one by one. The rest of this, if you're having trouble with this right now, you probably ought to just stop and practice this, because we've got 5 or 6 problems in this session right here, and they're all building on this knowledge. So it's one of those things that if you can't get one of them, which is no big deal, you got time, and once you get one of them, you pretty much have them all. We'll put some twists and turns on the rest of them, but once you understand how to do this, the rest is a lot easier. But getting that first hint of knowledge, is the hardest. And also, you may be asking yourself, why am I doing this? The computer does it for me. Well, you have to set parameters. You have to know how your system works, so you can manage that system. If you don't know how the system works in your schedule, then you won't know how to manipulate the system. If there's some errors in calculations in the system, or you're getting some funny orders, you won't know what to do. So if you're going to be a scheduler, and later on this is similar to what we're going to do in MRP calculations, you won't know how to order. So this is the building blocks of Apex, and it's very, very important. So anyway, calculate the PAB and schedule on appropriate lot sizes in the MPS to meet the forecast demand. So I'm looking at 6.2. So you see you've got a forecast of 5, 5, 8, 10, and 15, and you start out with 20, right? So it's asking you to calculate the PAB. So you got period 1, you've got a inventory of 20 on hand, and your forecast is 5, so your PAB is 15 in period 1. Then for period 2, you take your 15 minus 5, your PAB is 10 in period 2. So in period 2, you take 10 minus 8, and you get 2, and you go, uh-oh, that's below our safety stock of 5, right? So I've got to place an MPS for 30, because that's our lot size, in period 3. So put an MPS of 30 in there, and that gives you what? 10 minus 8 gives you 2. Then you're going to build 30, so that gives you a 32 PAB in period 3. And you take 32 minus 10, and you get 22 for period 4, and 22 minus 15 is 7. That's your projected availability for period 5. So again, I'll post all these for you. You'll have them, and that's a good way to go back and practice on these problems. And that's period 6.2. I mean, that's 6.2. So anyway, I think it's good to take a little bit of break here, because this breaks it up pretty good. practice if you don't have it. When we come back, we'll do problem 6.3, and we'll just roll on from there. So we're continuing on with the same stuff, and I will see you in our next video chat here in just a second. So hang in there, and thanks for being with me, guys. Appreciate you hanging out with me, and I'm going to try it again here in just a few minutes. Thanks.